Having duck feet doesn't just give your asshole brother another easy target at you, but it can also create pain in the ankles, knees, and even hips. And that's why in this video, I'm not only going to be showing you what you need to do to fix your duck feet fast, I'm also going to be showing you what you need to do after so your duck feet doesn't return. Adam here from TrainMassage.com. Now I do want to be clear real quick that just because you do have duck feet doesn't necessarily mean you're going to develop pain in the future. In fact, there are a few studies that show a poor connection between duck feet and pain. Like this one study that shows overpronation within the feet can lead to altered biomechanics within the lower back, but it's not necessarily the cause of lower back pain. Or this study that shows your foot posture isn't related to pain like Achilles tendinopathy. However you say that. Now with all that said, there are other studies that show your duck feet is connected to your pain. Like this study here that shows pronated feet is connected with foot pain symptoms, in which they recommend in order to fix your pain, you should try to fix your flat feet. Or your duck feet in this case. And this study here that shows landing after a jump with pronated feet will create more force into the ankles and the foot, which I believe we can all agree will create faster wear and tear on the ankles and feet, which leads to things like arthritis basically. So if there are studies that support both sides to this argument, then which one is right? Sadly, I don't have that answer, but I do have a theory. I do believe that the more pronated foot you have, then the more instability you're going to develop in that ankle and the foot. And the more instability you're going to have, then the more likely you are to develop pain and problems down the road. Now that instability can be created by two different things. It can be created by weaker muscles not stabilizing the joint, allowing the ankle and the foot to basically flop all over the place. Or if you look at this as a massage therapist, then you may see that you have too much stability, but only in one movement within that ankle. I think we can all understand how a weak muscle can lead to instability within the joint, just like how a weak foundation will lead to a house collapsing sooner rather than later. So since that one's easy to kind of understand, let's jump into how the ankle can actually have too much stability in one movement. When it comes to duck feet, what you have is basically your feet and your ankle pointing in one main direction. And what ends up happening is the body will begin to recognize this pattern and begin to build its stability around this one pattern. Well, now that your body has adapted into this one main position, it may be harder to actually move in these other ranges of motion, like dorsiflexion or inversion, for example. And in fact, if you take a look at one of the studies that actually disproves pronated feet equals pain, then what you'll see is that that pain was associated with limited range of motion, specifically in dorsiflexion. And what that means is your ankle most likely has too much stability or too much tightness in one direction. So my theory is that if you have duck feet, then you're going to want to start off by releasing the tension, creating that duck feet in the first place. And the best way to do that is with self-massage techniques. By first self-massaging, you're not only going to get rid of all that tension creating your duck feet, you're also going to make it easier to train those weaker muscles, which is going to help pull your feet into a more neutral position. Now with that said, there are several muscles you're going to want to release when it comes to having duck feet. And the first one is going to be the actual calf muscle, which is the gastrocs and the soleus. Now, if this muscle gets tight, then it may limit that dorsiflexion movement, which was associated with that ankle pain from that earlier study. And the second muscle you're going to want to release is the fibularis, which is the lateral calf muscle. Now, what this muscle ends up doing is actually everting the foot, which will create something like flat feet, which also pushes the feet out. And the final area you're going to want to self-massage is located on the bottom of the foot, which consists of both fascia and muscles. This area needs to get released because this fascia also connects to the calves, the hamstrings, and more, which may also be limiting your dorsiflexion range of motion. So what you need to do here is actually release all these muscles using any of the self-massage techniques that you see on the screen for roughly 2 to 3 minutes each muscle. So now that all the muscles and the tension is released within your duck feet, there is one more thing you need to do to make sure your duck feet doesn't return. and that is to exercise all those weaker muscles within the calf and the foot. By doing this last, you're not only avoiding a fight with the tension of those tighter muscles, but you're also making it easier to fully contract them after that tension is gone. Now, when it comes to improving your duck feed, there are a few muscles you should be firing up, and the first one is going to be the anterior tibularis, and the second one is going to be the foot flexor group. Now, to train your anterior tibularis, what you can do is place a kettlebell on top of your toes while your foot is on an elevated surface. Now, from here, all you're going to do is raise your toes up towards your nose, contracting that front calf muscle, holding that position for a few seconds, and then letting it return back to its starting position before you repeat that for another 40 to 60 reps, taking as many sets as you need. Now, the second muscle group you're going to want to work out is going to be the foot flexor group. And these are basically just a group of muscles that are underneath the foot that help flex it and extend it. Well, flex it basically. Now, this foot flexor group consists of several different muscles, not only on the back of the calf, but also underneath the foot. And by training these muscles, it's going to help to build a stronger arch, which is going to fight off those duck feet. Now, to train these muscles, you can do what's called a foot crunch. Take a rolled up towel and place your foot across it so that the arch is in the middle of the rolled up towel. Now, from here, crunch your feet in an attempt to pick up the towel. Regardless if you can grab it or not, hold that for a few seconds before you return to your starting position and repeat for 40 to 60 reps. Again, taking as many sets as you need. To make this treatment even better, I highly recommend watching the video in the top right corner. It's going to be showing you how to release all the muscles within the knee and even hip that can also create pronated feet.